Welcome to episode 3. So before we go any further, I need to share a video about the future of concert photography that I just saw a few minutes ago, and I really should, I think I should share it with you. Anyway, on to episode 3. So what we're here to talk about this week is a little kind of history of a particular photograph in my portfolio that I often get a lot of questions about. It's a photo I took in the States with the script in 2014, and I guess it's one of the pictures I'm most proud of because of what went into getting the actual picture. So you're not going to see it again for a few minutes because we're going to start where it started. So I'm going to flick back to the first image. So the story was I was traveling around the States with the script they were supporting the One Republic for a tour around the States before the script's own album release and their tour following that. So I was there to grab images for the tour program basically. So we started off in Colorado and Red Rocks for a couple of nights and then moved on kind of around the west coast of the States. We got to this is gig number 3, and I think it was Irvine. No, yes, it was Irvine. I think it was Irvine. And I need to go back and confirm, but I'm pretty sure it was Irvine. So at the end of the gig, I happened to get this shot, and it was at 30mm on a 24-70 2.8. ISO was at 2500, and I was obviously very happy with it. But instantly when I took it, I thought, this could have been a tour program picture if I had managed to get the guitarist in the shot as well. So I went to the band that night, showed them the picture, they really liked it, but I instantly said, we need to try and do better with this. We need to try and get another shot. And this could be a great kind of tour program shot, or maybe even official tour poster. And they, thankfully, felt the same. So we set upon a multi-night journey to try and get the shot. So on this next night, again, this image hasn't had much processing on because I regarded and still regard this image as a failure personally. So this is straight out of camera. This one was at 1/125th of a second. This shot, and again it was ISO 2000 I should say. I'm sorry, aperture 2.8. This was our attempt to get all 3 members in shot the next night. Now, what I had neglected to tell Danny was that he shouldn't use an Irish flag over his back for this particular moment, because I had seen him grab it, about a couple of songs earlier, and it never occurred to me that this might happen when he jumped off the drum kit. So what we ended up was an Irish flag with 2 sets of legs and Glenn looking at it. And obviously Ben Sargent there, who's the bass player, in frame on the right. So after the previous night's shot, I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, but I was like, we've got extra nights. I'm here for another 4 or 5 nights. We can definitely nail this. What was interesting was, and you'll see in the next shot why it became an issue, is that these strobes or these spotlights and the lights that are coming from the stage, for this particular moment in the gig, they kind of strobe, meaning that there's a potential for it not having everyone lit properly. And there's an element, no matter how well I timed my shot, there was an element of luck involved, whether or not I would get the band members illuminated. So anyway, I showed this to the band. Needless to say, they agreed with me that we could probably do better, but thankfully they had faith. And the next night, which is here. Now, this was pretty I still love this shot. It's something quite unique about it. I was at full wide 24. I was standing up a bit taller, a bit higher than I had been the previous nights, which I learnt was a mistake because that doesn't accentuate the height that Danny jumps to if I'm standing when I take the photo. But the other problem with this shot was that the strobing light coming from the stage rigging was not illuminating Mark Sheehan here. Now this is at 1/500th of a second here, and you can even tell, I guess there's the little drips of sweat around Danny, the lead singer there, and that's that extra kind of speed in the shutter has enabled a little bit more lockdown in detail. Glenn here is pretty happy with him, and you know, if Mark had been better illuminated, it could have been the shot, but it wasn't. And I showed the band; they were definitely encouraged by it. I was encouraged, and I mean, to go back, I mean, when you bear in mind the previous night I'd had that, so to go to that, yeah, I was definitely happy, but I still knew we could do better. At the end of the day, it only became possible not only because of working with the band, but also working with the lighting technician, and obviously working with my own mistakes and learning from them. So for the next night, I made sure to be kneeling for this particular moment. I had coordinated with the lighting engineer, brilliant Jamie from Mirad, that he had, for this particular next night, he took the lighting off strobe so that it remained continuous for me. And then also, we made sure that Danny didn't have any Irish flag, and it led to this shot, which was the end result, where we got everyone in the air, Glenn on point, arms ready to smash the drums, Danny in the air, and Mark in the air. We had obviously practiced it a little bit in sound check, practiced the cue. I did settle on 1/250th of a second for this particular shot. It was at 31 millimeters. On the 24-70, I was at ISO 2500. There's been a little bit of noise reduction, but certainly not much. I'd made sure I was a little lower. I chatted to the wonderful, amazing guys who kind of clear everything off stage and tune the guitars and all that kind of jazz. They helped move the keyboard as far as they could for me in the time that they had to do it. And it kind of just meant we had the perfect marriage of, that was the result of the lighting engineer, the stage people, the band, and myself all working together to get this shot. So as much as concert photography is a very, very dynamic thing, you can bring it, there is room for planning. There is room for kind of like working with the other members of the team. I mean, it's not something I would do the first time I work with a client and start, you know, asking things of various different departments. But this was a band I'd already built a relationship with, and they had brought me out to America for the purpose of getting content for this tour program. So it was in a situation where everyone knew I was there working for the band's benefit. So it just made it easier to, I guess, ask different things to different people. And in a tour setting, you have a wonderful opportunity to get to know people and just form friendships and camaraderie on the road. And you know, you're stuck in each other's faces 24/7, sleeping in these tiny coffin-like bunks on a bus. You know, there's two ways you can go on a tour. You can become friends, or you can become arch enemies. I'm glad to say I became and still am great friends with these guys. So yeah, that's this is a shorter episode than the last one. Last one was a bit of a mammoth one lengthwise, but hopefully a lot of useful information. But this one, I just wanted to share something short and sweet. Hope it's interesting, and I hope maybe some of you guys can take some inspiration from it, and you know, about ways to work with the band to get the ultimate shot. Because at the end of the day, bands like shots that make them look good. So it's a good thing to take advantage of that. And you know, when you've developed a relationship, ask for things that you'd like to see happen. And more often than not, you'll find that they're quite willing if they trust you at the end of the day. Stick any questions in the comments about this image, or even if you have requests for other images you'd like me to do little short episodes on, like this one. Please like and sub. The sub would be amazing, as I'm just getting this channel going. And please follow me at Shoot the Sound, which you should see on screen if I remember to put it up in the editing at this point. Hopefully I will. But yeah, thank you, and we'll see you soon for episode 4.